Jane, what was your life like that made you want to do something about it, and that's how we connected and you did the program?
My life was a roller coaster. I was always tired. I was getting sick constantly. So I went from being healthy, happy, strong to suddenly weak. Really poor immune function.
Were you doing too much at the time? Because I knew that was a habit when we met, doing too much.
Yeah, I was doing a lot, and I remember thinking I was doing a lot because I just loved doing different things. But ever since I started the EP7 program, I slowly began to realise that there was a real reason why I was keeping myself busy.
Do you remember the resistance you had when I was introducing you to the idea of balance and whether you had to do as much as you were doing? And there was actually resistance, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was.
There was initial distress.
Yeah, and I guess there still is a little bit of resistance, but I know that that's just a part of the process.
Yeah.
And I know that over time, that will settle. So, but yeah, I was really busy. I was keeping myself busy with 10 million different hobbies.
Yeah.
But I was just running myself to the ground. As I said, I was always sick. I was grumpy. I didn't want to spend time with family, and I started disconnecting a lot from friends. I even remember reaching the point where I'd send my friends messages saying, hey, look, I need time for myself. I'm not going to be in touch for a while, I'm sorry. So yeah, I really did take a massive step back from friends and family. And just living life day to day was a chore. It was really tiring for me to just survive. That's what I felt like I was doing, just surviving.
Yeah. Do you think that because you're a creative person and design and, all that was so important to you, do you think that you were almost like trying to find a way to fulfill that while having a job that wasn't doing that, and therefore you were chasing that fulfillment?
Yeah, I was definitely chasing something. At that point, I had reached a point, where I was chasing anything. I would grasp at anything because I was so miserable with what I was doing in my life. Anything that came my way that I thought, just anything that I thought would take me away from the office corporate world, I would grasp at. I remember one time I thought, I'm going to start making tea and selling tea. But I don't want to, really, in reality, I don't want to do that. That's really not anything that I want to do. It was just more a desperate attempt at trying to find some kind of happiness.
Yeah.
And so, at one point I was doing singing lessons, I was doing guitar lessons, I was doing yoga. I guess I reached a point where I thought I need to stop this. I'm tired of always being sick. I'm tired of not wanting to see my friends and family because that's not me. That's not who I really am. And of course I started feeling quite isolated and lonely. So I did decide maybe 2-3 years ago, I really want to work on myself. I want to stop this. This is, I didn't like who I was becoming. I felt like I wasn't a kind person because I felt like I just didn't have the capacity to be kind because I was just so angry at myself and tired with myself. So I decided, no, that's it. I've got to get out of this hole. And so for 2 years, I'd read books, I'd watch videos and try and help myself in that way. I did see psychologists here and there, but I don't think they helped me. They didn't help me because I still found myself feeling crappy and tired and sick all the time. And I guess the turning point was when my brother passed away. So he died. He was only the time he was only 34 when he passed away, and it just made me realise I've got to be happy. I want to live the rest of my life being happy, and I know that Jason will want me to be happy too. So I guess I was having a really good run.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not so used to going weeks or a month or 2 months of just feeling good. It's always been one day I'd feel great, next day I'd feel crap. You know, it's always been like that. But that time I had this amazing experience. It was probably 2 weeks, and I was just feeling great. And it was just like every other morning. I woke up and I meditated, did my brain training audio. I found myself really relaxed and not rushing like I normally would to get to work, not feeling stressed about getting to work. You know, I meditated, got out of bed, felt fine, potted around the house. I was also quite amazed. I remember waking up thinking, wow, I'm not tired and I'm not sick, because I think 2 nights in a row I had slept really late, and normally I would be exhausted, but I woke up feeling fine, and I think that made me feel really good. So yeah, the morning started off really well because of that. Anyway, I was getting ready for work and started driving to the train station, and I just turned on some music, and this is something I do a lot lately, that I never used to do. Since I guess high school, I turned on some music and I just started singing and dancing and bopping along to the music in the car. And one of my favourite songs came on, and I was really enjoying myself just dancing and singing along in the car. And just suddenly, out of nowhere, out of the blue, in this moment of pure joy, I felt and I heard my brother in here. I felt him say thank you, and I felt so much love here in my heart, and I heard him say thank you, or I don't know if it was us both thanking each other from the heart. And it made me realise that split second, like it just came out of nowhere. It was really surreal, and that was my first time connecting with my brother after 2.5 years. And it made me realise that my brother's passing actually, in a way, was a gift to me. Because if he never passed away, I would never have done EP7. I would never have done EP7, and I would still be the miserable, depressed Jane, you know, living in a mental prison. But, you know, he passed away, and that's what made me realise life's too short. I don't want to live life like this anymore. And I know that my brother would want the best for me. So that moment where we connected for that split second, where I really felt him in my heart, where another Jane inside here actually thanked him for this experience. Yeah, it was really mind-blowing. And ever since that moment, I have felt my heart just open. It's just crumbled into mush. It's not that rock hard heart I used to have where I would just be in protection mode all the time. And now I feel like I'm a lot more compassionate like I used to be. I can understand people a lot more, you know, I can feel empathy like I used to, you know. So it's really helped me open up my heart. after that moment, I just could not stop crying. It's almost like,
It was big.
it was a massive release. The whole time driving to work, I was just crying. When I parked my car in the city, I was sitting in the car trying to stop crying, but I couldn't. And so I was walking to work, crying, got to work crying, and in the end I just thought, I can't be here. I would rather be with my parents, sharing this experience with them. I knew that that would make them happy, and it's something also that I just wanted to share with them. So my boss let me go home to my parents and I shared it with them, and it was huge for them because I have never ever opened up to them. So they were overjoyed. Yeah.
So special.
Yeah. They have been under the impression since I was young that to be successful in life means to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. And it's all about, money. And that really messed me up because they controlled me and led me down a pathway, not led me, actually forced me down a pathway that wasn't real for me. So I was living a life for them, not for myself.
But you couldn't shake it.
No, I couldn't.
You actually started to do it to yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, their expectations, their thoughts, their beliefs kind of all became my own because I was just surrounded by it day in, day out. But I was so unhappy for so long. And after a while, I started hating them, feeling really angry towards them, and I was very bitter towards them. And I blamed them, as you said, for everything, for my unhappiness. But when I started, just before I started seeing you, I started realising, you know what, being angry and being bitter towards them isn't going to help. And they were just doing what they thought was right for me. I was pretty conflicted because I knew where they were coming from. I knew they were coming from
Love.
a good place.
Yeah.
But it still didn't change the fact that it resulted in my unhappiness, and it still didn't change the fact that I was really hurt by it. But then I started realising, through working through EP7 with you and through other things that I was doing on the sides that, my parents have actually been through so much worse than I have. I started developing a lot more compassion for them, really understanding and seeing where they've come from. And that has really helped me release, and I honestly mean it, it's helped me release that bitterness and anger towards them. And as a result of that, my health has improved so much more. So I realised all the anger that I held towards my parents for so long, that's what ultimately was making me sick all the time and tired. Because no blood test could tell me anything was wrong, It was all just my mind. Yeah. And to other people it may be nothing, but for me it's a huge step that I actually was able to go to them and actually have an open and honest conversation with them and tell them where I believe my depression came from. And I was upfront with them, and I said to them, it was the way you guys raised me. But then I also, did explain to them, but I also understand now where you guys are coming from. And yeah, just having that conversation with them was huge, because I would never ever have imagined that I'd be able to have that kind of conversation with my parents. So initially my parents have always been like, no, you need to do this, you need to do that, and anything that I wanted to do they would put down and say, that's stupid, that's silly, you're not going to get anywhere with that, blah 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 blah, especially if it was anything creative. But yeah, that time when I had that conversation with my parents explaining why I was coming to see you and what actually led me to depression and all that kind of jazz, I told my dad, I really want to start doing something for me now. I don't care what you and mum say. I don't care if it's not going to make enough money for you guys and you're not happy with that. It's important that I do something that's aligned with my heart. And my dad said, do what makes you happy. If it's making jewelry, if it's doing art, if it's doing graphic design, do it. Go back to uni, go to TAFE and study it, and I'll support you 100%. Do whatever you want that will make you happy. If you're happy, I'm happy. But in the past, it was never like that. So I remember when he said that, and he said, "I support you 100%." I just thought, what? Like, this isn't like my dad. So yeah, it was quite amazing. Yeah.
The power of love and the power of your own personal transformation,
Yeah, so I think it really, they've changed, obviously because of my brother's death. It really made them reflect on how they raised me, because they didn't like seeing me depressed. But then I guess, I know that it also helped that I was going through my own transformation and I was being a much more positive person myself. That definitely helped them as well, meet me in the middle.
It just happened so naturally.
Yeah, it did.
When we started working together, you and we got to the part where we talked about the real you and being an observer, so that you can see the version that you've been as a version that can easily change to another version, right?
Yeah.
And you started to call that observer the real Jane, and I thought that was pretty cool. So tell me how that affected you, this discovery that there was this part of you that was real and it was powerful and amazing. Tell me about how that started to change things for you.
I guess it started making me realize that there is a powerful Jane there, that a powerful Jane does exist. Powerful in a way that, I can do whatever I put my mind to. And it was a very interesting experience to discover this real Jane, or the observer Jane, because it made me realize, or it made me wonder, this Jane has been here all this time. She's been here all this time, but I have locked her away. I had her locked away in a prison.
Well, yeah, like something locked her away.
Yeah, it was me. I locked her away for a very long time.
That's how it felt.
Yeah.
To be fair to you, who you think you are, I don't think you locked her away. I think that poor brain was conditioned to deny her representing herself, which is you.
Well, yeah,
You know what I
my
mean?
upbringing from my parents conditions me to be that way, and as a result, I denied myself.
Yeah.
That observer Jane is now starting to become, it's actually pushed aside my old Jane, the old version, and now the real Jane is just becoming me.
That's so cool.
I don't know if that makes sense.
It does to me. She's in the driver's seat, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess so. She's almost there.
Yeah.
So when I first started going through this process with you, towards the end of it, I started observing another thought in my head, and I just thought, where the hell is that thought coming from? And I realised, wow, that's like the observer Jane that's pulling myself up for any negative thoughts and beliefs that I would pull up from the past, and I would actually start listening to this other Jane because I started realizing this old Jane and her thoughts and beliefs were serving absolutely no purpose. They were just, she was just holding me back and dragging me down.
Yeah.
So I really loved it when this other Jane would come along, and it made me realize, well, this other Jane is actually me.
Yeah.
High school, it was always, I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to do art, some form of art, and my parents never said a thing. And I was just always excited about thinking about my future as an artist. And then one day, as I was going into Year 12, my parents said, no, you're not allowed to do art. You can't do art, you need to do law. And, we had arguments about it, and, I had to respect their wishes, so...
Well, you were raised to.
Yeah, so I didn't go ahead with art, and I ended up doing law for a bit. But I remember a lot of the arguments with them regarding art was, it's too competitive, you're not going to make it, you don't make much money from it as well, blah, 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 blah. So ever since then, it just kind of, for me, I associated creativity with, I guess, a poor choice of profession.
Yeah.
Low income. So I just slowly started shoving creativity and art aside and wouldn't even...
Because it felt irresponsible.
Yeah, I guess so.
To indulge in it.
Yeah, and I thought, if I do anything creative, it's a waste of time because I'm not going to make any money from it. I'm not going to be successful with it because my parents said so, and because my parents said so, I started believing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, for a very long time, I just didn't do anything creative. But I remember for so many years, I would always think, I'd like to try photography again because that was one of my strengths. But every time I think about it, my immediate thought would be, no, Jane, you're not going to make any money from it. You're not going to be successful in it. So I would, dismiss the thought again. But after starting EP7 with you, I decided, you know what, I'm going to try and just do something creative purely for the enjoyment of it.
Yeah.
Not because I want to make money from it, because...
Was that after step 3 where you got to see how your imagination and allowing your creativity to express is important for every part of your life? Was that when it kind of turned on that this is not a waste of time, this is intrinsic to who you are and your expression?
No, I actually think it was more a result of the personal assessment, the empowerment session where, I realised that I can do anything. And also the disempowerment session where I realised a lot of the things I'm doing or not doing is to try and prove to my parents, I can be happy. Everything I was doing was fear-based, really, not out of my heart, not out of love. And it made me realise, well, this is why, this is also why I'm not allowing myself to do anything creative, because I'm just letting my parents get in the way. And that's when I decided, after those 2 personal assessments, that's when I decided, I'm going to start creating again, and I don't care if I'm not going to make any money from it. I just want to do it. And so when I finally did, I signed up for a jewellery making course, and it was quite funny because I knew that I would most likely go into the first class and I would start stressing and I would start thinking, no, what are you doing? You're not going to make any money from this. And sure enough, my first class, I was in there making my first piece of jewellery ever, And of course I was being hard on myself. I was saying, this is stupid, Jane, this is such a waste of time. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? This is ridiculous. You're not going to make any money from it. You're going to be a shit jeweler. And of course, all these thoughts started running through my head, and I thought, hang on, Jane. And the other Jane came on. The other Jane came through, and she's like, hang on, Jane, just chill out. Like, you're just here to enjoy.
Yeah.
And the other Jane was like, you knew that this old Jane would resurface.
Yeah.
And we were prepared for it, because I was expecting it. We were prepared for it. She came, and I was able to kind of slowly, gently tell the old Jane to go away. So the rest of the session I enjoyed, and I wasn't so hard on myself. And then I realised, you know, next few sessions I think I'm going to have to meditate just before the sessions, so I can actually go in relaxed, you know, and just
to absorb more, connect more.
Yeah, to connect more, just to flow, rather than go in and be like, oh, okay, I've got to make money from this. So it was really fun, and I think towards the last session that I had, I remember sitting there thinking, this is great. You know, it's been so long since I've made and created something just for the enjoyment of creating. And I was so happy. You know, I was just so happy to be able to finally create without feeling guilty, without feeling like I had to make something of it.
And be perfect in some way.
Yeah.
That was another big thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because the mistakes you were making, I loved your attitude to them. It was like, wow, you've given yourself incredible permission to just be and grow and learn. And, oh, gosh, that's such a relief, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess the perfectionist in me also got in the way. I kind of thought, if you can't do it perfectly, then don't even bother doing it all. So that's another reason why I guess I never allowed myself to be creative. But now I just do it, and if I stuff up, then that's fine.
Because it was like that whole right and wrong, that logic was killing creativity. Because you're looking for the right, but creativity is about expression and exploring and discovering things that work, things that might not, that gives you ideas to then be different. That world was denied when we're caught in right and wrong, huh?
Yeah. I guess I was also very fearful of, if I create and then I make mistakes and stuff up, then my parents have proved me right. You know, that they have proven to me that, yes, I'll never be successful at art. And so that's another reason why I just think, okay, if I can't do it, if I can't do it perfectly, don't do it at all. Because then my parents are right, you know, that I can't be successful.
Actually, I'm going to show on the camera a keyring that you made. So here we go. So this beautiful keyring is EP7, and
backwards.
Yeah, but the thing was, when you did it backwards, like I said, your attitude was like, oh, look at that, it's backwards, can you believe it? And then we both had a laugh and thought, well, guess what? I'm going to take photos of that and just easily make it mirror image, and that fixes it. And it really is beautiful. And now for me, that backwards thing to me is a gift, because it reminds me of your freedom to give yourself permission to flow and reveal.
To fail
and to me, that and you is a testament for all of us in life, to give ourselves that permission.
Yeah.
So that made it even more meaningful. Actually, it reminds me of one of those photos of a cup, a Chinese cup that's been broken, but it's been mended with gold. And it talks about that the cracks are the character, are where there's stories of journey, of wounds, and where, attention was given, and the gold suddenly is celebrated for that journey of that cup. And that's the attitude of things that break. When you mend them, the gold is a celebration of, Yeah. And I thought, wow, isn't that awesome? And it's like us when we have our past traumas and that. Suddenly we turn into wisdom. They're a part of our character, our depth of character, our ability to have empathy and compassion. If we had no cracks, we were perfect all along. Can you imagine how unbearable we'd be?
Yeah.
It's quite funny.
Yeah.
So when we were like focusing on your emotional well-being, your self-worth, and then we got to the end of the template where you create your own symbol, overarching symbol. Can we show what you created?
Yeah, sure.
So this symbol, what does it represent to you?
For me, this is what represents, I guess, reinvention, and it reminds me that reinvention isn't just a single journey; it can happen over and over again.
Yes.
And this, to me, is a simple reminder, I guess, of the outcome of my purpose to myself, to just be, and to continue growing and learning from my experiences. Really, yeah.
I have to tell you, when I put this up here, and the backdrop is that white banner, you get to see how beautiful the symbol is.
So that was a really fun piece that I got to create. I drew it and cut it out. I was going to actually make it a stencil and emboss it into another piece of metal, but then I decided that looks beautiful just like that. And so, yeah, that's just meant to be a constant reminder.
And the breathe. So this is a breathe mural tree. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, I think you can see the T is upside down. Now that's another gift, isn't it? Why?
So I guess that, although it was an accident, I laughed about it afterwards because I thought, well, this is perfect because it's reminding me to not take life too seriously, because that's how I've been taking life and living life for so long. And it's just a nice little silly mistake that reminds me, hey, it's fine. You can make mistakes and you can have a bit of fun along the way.
In other words, breathe when you feel there's a mistake and you're getting a little anxious or overwhelmed or put out. Breathe. And what I love about the breathe with upside down is it celebrates the purpose of breathing.
Yeah.
To just be, let go,
Yeah.
And so, look, I want to ask you a final question, which is, your situation is very common. Not all of it. A lot of it's unique to you.
Yeah.
But in terms of, being raised to feel like you can't go after your passions, your dreams, right? What would you tell someone that you meet? Say you met a young lady in a bar and she just for some reason opened up about her frustration and feeling depressed about her job and denying things she was passionate about. What would you say to someone that you recognize was you before you reinvented yourself a few times and continue to? What would you say to her or him?
I guess one of the first things I would say and really stress is, stop living for other people. Stop listening to other people. Don't let other people dictate your life. Listen to what your heart is saying. But, that's what I've been telling myself for so long. But also that wasn't enough for me. So I guess I would tell that person there's nothing wrong with seeking help as well. If you're finding the journey very rocky, very difficult, and a very slow one, reach out to someone and ask them to help you. Because sometimes you need that. I guess you need someone to hold your hand and to help you really delve deep into what the actual underlying problem is.
Because you're so in it.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess what came out of our sessions was, the actual underlying beliefs that really held me back, the underlying beliefs that really served me no purpose. And only after discovering those really dysfunctional beliefs, I was able to then release them. And I feel like that is what is really important to actually make a transformation. It's not as simple as saying, okay, I'm unhappy because of my parents or because of the way people tell me to live my life. I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to tell them to piss off and I'm going to live the life I want to. It's not that simple. Because you've been raised and conditioned to be a specific way for so long, it's not actually that easy to move away from that version.
It's like we're super glued in.
Yeah, and a lot of that, as I said before, is because you've got these underlying principles and beliefs that you've grown up with for so long. And I think what really helped and what was really valuable with your session was that I was able to identify those. So yeah, I would tell someone who's in the same shoes as me to, to really spend the time to understand what is actually causing their grief. Yeah.
Because, it's funny, in the way we're raised, there's no orientation around subconscious and conscious, so which means we think that we're just seeing what's there to be seen, and how we feel and all that is because we're reacting to the truth of the world. We don't realize that the subconscious brain can actually hold assumptions that we don't get to see consciously, and that some of them are wrong. And that they stay forcing us to feel a certain way and only notice certain things. So what you're saying is you would want to reach out to someone and let them know that
there's so much more to them, to what they think and see. And the only way that you can really discover that, I think, is with guidance. Because when you're in it, you lack the insight because you're too busy being in protection mode, too busy trying to survive, that you don't have the capacity to actually sit there and really delve deep into your subconscious, as you say. And you don't have the tools to do it either. So the best thing I have done is to do this. I came in being a real big skeptic, as you know, and as you experienced, but I definitely don't regret it because it's helped me tremendously. So
skeptics are my favourite, Jane. I say to skeptics, if you're going to be a skeptic, be a good one. It's good to be skeptical, but not skeptical enough to lose your curiosity to want to learn more. That's what you're saying, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. With me, when I first started, I was definitely a skeptic. I thought, some of the sessions I walked in thinking, this is so silly, this is stupid.
Oh, gee, don't hold back, be honest.
I remember just thinking, I've been this way for so long, there's no way you're going to change me. I remember thinking that.
What was the turning point?
I guess the turning points were actually just going home and doing the exercises, forcing myself to the exercises.
You had to force yourself initially.
I had to force myself initially. And after doing the exercises, really seeing, I guess making a few epitomes just through doing the exercises, and also slowly starting to feel the change internally, feeling that shift from negative to positive. And I guess, the biggest thing for me was realizing that I had been limiting myself, thinking that my one way of thinking was the only way of thinking. And doing the exercises made me realize, wow, no, Jane, that's so stupid, that's so silly, there's lots of other ways to think. And it was just a matter of me making the decision, the actual choice to stop being that certain way. It sounds really silly to other people,
but this is actually quite normal.
It was a massive step for me to realise that I don't need to think this way anymore because it's not serving me any purpose. It's not, it's really holding me back, and I'm going to stop thinking that way. I'm going to start thinking this other way, and just making that switch, that small switch, has opened up so many exciting doors for me. And that in itself for me is amazing because I had accepted for so long that my life was just going to be shit and I was going to be sad and miserable for the rest of my life. I just accepted my life as it was. I didn't think that there was another way to be.
It's heartbreaking to think that you And so many people are in that predicament
Mm.
right now. But you know, you opened up, your mind opened up, your heart opened up. So then you met someone,
Yes.
and your attitude to relationships wasn't that good when we first connected.
No, it wasn't. No.
You definitely weren't in a version that was going to allow a decent relationship to happen.
Oh, I think, no, it wasn't. Yeah, no, it wasn't. When I moved through this process, I realised, what was more important for me, the kind of person I am and the kind of person I want to be with. And it kind of made me realise I'm not going to waste my time on a relationship if it's not aligned with my values, my beliefs. So I was pretty happy not being in a relationship while I was going through this process because I thought this is great. This process is really teaching me to feel empowered and to just be on my own. But then I did meet someone and I was really worried, thinking, oh no, he's going to distract me from this. But luckily enough, he was really, really, and he is still really very understanding and
He
very
sounds
patient.
amazing, Jane.
Yeah.
So shout out to him.
But I think it also helps that I have actually been very honest and open with him about this whole journey of mine. And the fact that I was able to communicate it to him in a way that made him, I guess, not afraid,
You're so vulnerable in this relationship. You're so authentic. You're not even trying to make this relationship work. You're just being yourself.
Yeah.
And even when you have your arguments, it's just, for some reason, you just get through it without even a big deal.
Yeah.
And I feel like this just feels amazing. This is the kind of relationship that I always describe to people, that they deserve to have relationships like this. And I call those relationships extraordinary.
Yeah.
Do you feel you've got an extraordinary relationship?
Yeah, I do actually. It was only yesterday I was just walking to work and just suddenly out of the blue I was thinking, I am so lucky to have Luca, and I am really grateful that I've met him, and I don't think I've ever felt this happy and fulfilled in a relationship ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the real Jane, what an awesome relationship the real Jane is about.
Yeah.
And then your parents and your partner. It's just, to me, I feel like relationships are the glue to quality experiences and to a heart being enriched. And goals seem easy to achieve when the relationships are so strong and meaningful, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's really, I guess he's made one of my goals a reality, which I didn't see coming. So as I explained to you previously, one of the dreams that I always had but shoved aside because
the old Jane was down.
The old Jane was like, that's stupid, that's unrealistic, why would you do that, that's a waste of time. So I dismissed this dream of mine, which was, to buy a van, to deck it out and to travel around Australia. And I remember after going through the empowerment session with you, I realised, oh, you know what? It's okay to have those kind of goals, even if they're not achievable. There's nothing wrong with just letting them exist, because only then I can actually kind of at least try to work on them.
Mm-hmm.
So I started allowing myself to think, it would be nice to have a van and to do it up and travel around Australia. I'll just leave it there. I'm not going to hide it anymore.
As an opportunity, as a possibility, you just softened and allowed.
It's just going to sit there. I don't have to actively work towards it, but it's there. And it was fun to go through Instagram and, see people in their vans.
So you were actually naturally feeding you that desire, but without no pressure.
No pressure.
There's something in that for all of us.
Yeah, so I shared that dream with Luca when I met him, and now we have a van. So we have a van, and we've recently just started working on it. So we're preparing it at the moment. Ripped out the back seats and the carpets, and this weekend we're going to sit together and really plan how to deck out the van. So.
But your Instagram is an opportunity for people to follow and connect with you because then they get to see how you're doing this and all the adventures are going to come from it.
Yeah.
So why don't you share how people can find you on Instagram?
Well, so this Instagram I started more just for fun and enjoyment, and for me to actually just be a bit more creative and to fit in creativity in my everyday life. It's not really, hey, everyone follow me, I want to become famous.
It's part of multi-purpose tasking.
Yeah.
And it's just enriching your life. It's rolling a lot of things into the flow of your life. That's awesome.
Yeah, I created this page specifically for Luigi. Luigi's
That's the name of the van, yeah.
I just created it for the purpose of just keeping record of the project and its progress. And when I created it, actually I was just home sick in bed. I was really, really bored because I had slept all day and I couldn't sleep any longer. So I whipped out my phone and started thinking, oh, you know what, I'll just make an Instagram page. And 3 hours later, I was still working on it. I just wanted to make it look pretty, and I really wanted to, make it attractive and to draw in the interest of other people that are into vans and the van life. Now it's only got 3 photos so far, but I just get excited thinking about, putting up the next photo and realizing that I can actually merge my love of photography in with this project as well. That's really quite exciting for me. And I'm actually really happy and very pleased that for once I'm doing this purely out of enjoyment and I'm not putting the pressure on myself, and I don't feel the pressure.
That's awesome.
To do it to make money and to be famous. That's not my purpose. Yeah. But I know that the old Jane would have been like, oh, okay, now I've got to get this, I've got to get this done, got to get that done, got to put this up because I want to get more followers.
And it has to be perfect. And
it has to be perfect, But no, now I just do it purely for the enjoyment of it. And even the other day I remember putting up some photos and I thought to myself, no, but I don't want it to look this way. I want the photos to look that way, so I shouldn't be putting up photos right now until it's perfect. That was the old Jane. And then the new Jane quickly came and said, no, that's okay. You can evolve. You can evolve your Instagram. Yeah, start off with these photos and then your photos will get better, and there's nothing wrong with that, with slowly growing your Instagram in that way. And I just thought, that's exactly right. So, I'm learning quite a lot and having a lot of fun with it. So if you want to follow me, you can.
So how do they follow you?
What's my Instagram account name? So it's just Jane, JANE Luka, LUKA. So that just means Jane and Luka. I guess a reminder of me breaking free from the old Jane. I know that the old Jane would never be where I am today. I don't think I would have met Luka. I don't think we would have gone this van together, and I would not have made this Instagram page because I would be like, no, you can't do that. That's stupid. But the Instagram page for me is a really good reminder, and I don't know if it's a symbol, but it's just a really good reminder for me that I've come a long way.
I know, and I like what you said earlier. I don't know whether it was on camera or not, but we talked about you've reinvented yourself. That's the whole point of EP7. You reinvent yourself. But you said, but I know that it's ongoing. And I know that I'm supposed to always reinvent myself at any situation. And I love the fact that you're so connected to that. Because what does it mean?
Well, it just means that life is a journey.
Yeah, and you're just allowing.
Yeah, and I'm just letting things happen. If something goes wrong, then that's okay. I learn from that and I grow from that and I become wiser from it. And I become a better version from it too. So yeah, I really am beginning to try and actually appreciate, mess ups or failures. They don't get to me like they used to.
Yeah.
Before they used to get to me, and instantly I'm like, nah, there's no way you'll be good at that because you messed up. And so that would put an immediate stop to anything that I would pursue. But now I make mistakes and I'm like, okay, well, that's all right, what did you learn from that? And what can you, how can you better yourself from it? Yeah.
Jane, thank you. It's been so awesome going through this with you and watching you reinvent yourself in such a profound way that this version that you're in and the timeline that you're on is so amazing. It hits the essence of my purpose. Like, you think about why I do what I do. I want to make a difference, right? And coaches in episode want to make a difference. Well, it's kind of like, well, what's the point of working with someone if they don't shift and change and their world changes and they're excited about it and they're proud? Then suddenly all the difference that I wished I could make is actually real. And you've gifted me that. So that's why I love what you've created for me, the constant reminder. And I'm glad you agreed to do this video, because I know there's going to be a lot of amazing people out there that deserve the reinvention that you allowed yourself to have and deserve to connect to what kind of attitude, humility and courage it takes to begin that process. And you shared your raw, beautiful journey with them. Thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you.
You're welcome.